Hi, fellow football fans. Good morning if you're in the United States. Good afternoon if you're in Europe. In Asia, I think it's evening already, so good evening if you're in Asia. And if this is your first time watching a football channel video, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about all the action that happened yesterday in the Champions League. We're finally done with the first match day of the Champions League, and I would say it didn't disappoint. We had a lot of good matches on Tuesday and Wednesday yesterday. So, but I've already done a video about the matches on Tuesday, so I'm only going to talk about the matches that we saw yesterday, and I'm going to go group by group. Let's start with Group A, Bayern, Atletico, Salzburg, and Lokomotiv. And this was a very important first match day for that group in particular, because the two big ones, Bayern and Atletico, the big teams in that group, they were facing each other. They were going face to face, Bayern and Atletico in Germany. And now I'm just going to talk about this once, because if not, I'm going to have to repeat it for every game. But do remember that with the coronavirus situation, we're not going to have home crowds, and that kind of changes the picture a little bit. It alters the home factor situation. Teams playing at home will not probably have, and we're still going to have to see that as we go along, but teams playing at home probably won't have the huge advantage that they used to have because of the crowd. So keep that in mind. So Bayern, Atletico in Germany. And Bayern, though, this is probably a bad example, because Bayern completely dominated Atletico 4-0. But, you know, it's not surprising. I mean, Bayern is... maybe the extent of the domination is a little bit surprising, but Bayern has done this again and again and again since they got their new manager, about a year ago, and they've been completely unbeatable. Not unbeatable, because they did lose one or maybe two games, but I think they've only lost one game really since then, against Hoffenheim. But I mean, they've been incredible. They've won every single competition. They've won the German league since then. They've won the German Cup, the German Super Cup, the European Champions League, the European Super Cup. Really, the only thing that this team has left to win is the Club World Cup, which will take place in December as usual. And if they do that, by the way, they'll equal the feat of Pep Guardiola's unbeatable Barcelona team that did win all those same 6 titles. So I mean, it's an absolutely incredible Bayern team, and they put on the show against Atletico even without any fans in the stadium. 4-0. Coman scored twice. He's playing unbelievable football. Kingsley Coman, he developed into a very lethal winger / forward. Goretzka scored as well, Tolisso, and they're just playing angel football, god tier football. I mean, Bayern is fantastic right now. So not surprising that they won against Atletico, even though 4-0, that's perhaps more goals than we're used to seeing Atletico in particular concede. They usually have a good defense. They're a very tough team under Simeone, but you know, I think everybody was kind of expecting Bayern to win that game. And then Salzburg, Lokomotiv, the other two teams that are going to try to go for a miracle and qualify. I don't think, especially after seeing this first match, I don't think Bayern is going to be in any danger of not qualifying. I think they're probably going to top the group with ease, especially now that they have these 3 points against Atletico. But now we're going to have Salzburg and Lokomotiv as well, trying to take that second place away from Atletico, I think. But the first game is not good for either one. Salzburg 2, Lokomotiv 2. Eder scored, by the way, if you remember. Eder, he scored the winning goal for Portugal in the European Championship. He plays for Lokomotiv now. He scored for Lokomotiv, but then Salzburg, he scored the opening goal for Lokomotiv. Salzburg was able to turn the game around 2-1, but Lokomotiv was able to get back into the game and score the equalizer later on. So 2-2, a result that really doesn't really favor any of the two teams, because they really needed in that game, which is by far the easiest game in the group for both of them, they really needed the win if they are to hope taking that second place. They didn't get that, but I guess it's not a terrible result for either team, because it's still both teams get a tie. So in Group B, And this is probably the biggest story from yesterday. We had Real Madrid welcoming Shakhtar to Spain, to the Santiago Bernabeu, and everybody was expecting Real Madrid to completely destroy Shakhtar. I think they were massive favorites, especially because Shakhtar's team, and this is a huge factor, at least in theory, Shakhtar's team was devastated by the coronavirus epidemic. About half of their first team stayed in Ukraine. Because of the quarantine. They were quarantined due to the coronavirus. They tested positive. So Real Madrid Real Madrid had all their best players. Even though Zidane did make some really questionable choices. He left Benzema on the bench. He left Toni Kroos out as well. Vinicius out. All those players that, and I'll get to that, they would come into the game later. But Zidane really thinking about the Clásico. Obviously, we're going to have El Clásico this next Saturday, big game against Barcelona. So thinking about that and seeing, well, Shakhtar is going to come to Spain without half of their first team. They're going to play a lot of youngsters. We're going to play at home. We're probably going to have an easy time against them. This is really not what happened, though. Shakhtar came in and they came to play. They came to win, even though they had a lot of players that are not usually starters for Shakhtar. They're a very strange team or I should say particular team, because they're a Ukrainian team, but half of their team and pretty much all their attacking players are Brazilian. They have a really interesting model. They sign young, very talented Brazilian players from the Brazilian league with a lot of potential. They bring them into Europe. They turn them into elite players in Europe, and they sell them to the big European clubs. Fred, who now plays for Manchester United, or William, that has had a long career playing for Chelsea and now Arsenal in the Premier League. They're examples of that. But in any case, Shakhtar and their young Brazilians completely devastated Real Madrid in the first half, scoring 3 goals. By halftime, Real Madrid was behind 3 goals in the Santiago Bernabeu against Shakhtar, and people were saying, well, there's no way they can come back from this. And people were wrong again. Including myself. At first, we all thought that Real Madrid was completely destroy Shakhtar. This coronavirus devastated Shakhtar. But they did not. Shakhtar came in and they completely outplayed Real Madrid. Real Madrid looked lifeless in the first half. And again, everybody thought, including myself, that Real Madrid wasn't able to come back, that they had no chance coming back into the game because they were 3 goals behind and they look frankly like shit. But we were wrong again. Modric scores like the veteran, like the influential player that he is, a player that has played and won numerous Champions Leagues, that has won the Spanish League, that has played in the Premier League, that has played in World Cups with Croatia and reached the World Cup final. Modric really scores a beautiful goal, and this is kind of the goal that early in the second half completely transforms Real Madrid. They go on the offensive, but that's kind of a little bit deceiving. Shakhtar had their chances. Even in the second half, they could have made it 4-1, 5-1. It has to be said as well. But Real Madrid at least putting some passion in the second half, because in the first half, they just looked lifeless. They were playing really dull football, no imagination, but no speed, no pace, no intensity. But in the second half, they still looked fragile in defense, and Shakhtar was still creating very good chances. But Real Madrid, they put on an extra gear and they were playing better. And then Zidane started introducing players that really, arguably, of course, hindsight vision is 2020. You never know, but Zidane he realized that he had perhaps underestimated Shakhtar, and this was an important game in the group. This is a group also with Inter Milan, Mönchengladbach, so it's not going to be a walk in the park for Real Madrid. They really needed those points against Shakhtar to start their campaign well in the Champions League. So Zidane starts introducing the big ones, the big boys, Benzema, Kroos, Vinicius. And Vinicius in particular, he comes into the game, he changes the game. He's having a fantastic early season. He's a young player, I think he's still 20. So Real Madrid got him when he was 18. I think they signed him when he was still 17, but because he was underage, he couldn't play for Real Madrid, or he couldn't. His signing wasn't official until he was 18, and then he went to Real Madrid. He started with Castilla, their second division team, their under 23 or something team, and he was just too good. And then finally he started playing for the first team, but it wasn't really, he was looking very, very good, like he did with Flamengo in Brazil. I mean, a lot of talent for a young player, one of the most talented and most expensive really young players, teenagers in the world, but he didn't look like a finished product. This season we're starting to see Vinicius do what he hadn't been able to do for Real Madrid so far, really play like an experienced player, like a player that can play for Real Madrid, can play for a top European side, and can score goals, can be like truly a goal scorer. And before he would make the plays, he played well. You could see he had potential, but he wasn't really decisive. He couldn't get you the assists and the goals in every single game. And now, finally, we're seeing that version of Vinicius. He looks like the finished product now. He's not the finished product because we're still talking about a 20-year-old, but he looks like a player that can win matches now. And he comes in, and I think it took him about 40 seconds on the pitch to win the ball from a Shakhtar player and score a goal. And it's 3-2 now, and everything seems to be in favor of Real Madrid. They were 3 goals behind, and now it's 3-2. Real Madrid is playing at home, and all the momentum seems to be in their favor. And in fact, they didn't score the third goal right away, but Valverde gets the third goal towards the end of the match. And unfortunately for Real Madrid, and this was really in the final minutes of the game, I think it was already stoppage time, the goal gets disallowed because Vinicius was in fact in an offside position. It was disallowed by the VAR. Because it had been given initially, but the referee was told to look at the VAR, and in fact, it was an offside position for Vinicius. Valverde had scored the goal, but Vinicius was clearly in offside position in front of the Shakhtar goalkeeper, who just could not see the ball coming. He couldn't do anything because Vinicius was right in front of them, covering his line of view. So this goal rightfully disallowed, unlike the Liverpool game, in the Everton-Liverpool game that we saw that Liverpool goal get disallowed. In really, I still don't understand it, but in this case, it was really the right decision to disallow the goal. So what that means is Shakhtar won the game. They went to the Santiago Bernabeu without half of their first team starters, and they beat Real Madrid to a pulp. And yeah, they suffered a little bit in the second half. They needed a little bit of luck in that Valverde situation, but they won the 3 points against Real Madrid away, and this is really a game changer for that group, because it is a group with Real Madrid, Shakhtar, Inter, and Mönchengladbach. And in Italy, something interesting happened as well. Inter was not able to win their match against Mönchengladbach. Also, the other big favorites to go through the knockout stages, Conte's Inter Milan, also they couldn't win their game against Mönchengladbach. In fact, even though Lukaku scored 2 goals, but in fact they were behind for a good portion of the game, or for a decent amount of time. They were behind 1-2, but Lukaku was able to score the equalizer. Still, they did not get the 3 points at home against Mönchengladbach. Bad result for Inter, you could say, even though Mönchengladbach is a good team. But now Inter is going to have to play Shakhtar and Real Madrid for the next several matches. Very difficult group for Inter, but look, even a difficult group for Real Madrid now. We're at a position that Shakhtar has 3 points, Mönchengladbach 1, Inter 1, and Real Madrid 0, and this is going to make these two kind of like wacky results or unexpected results, I think, are going to make the group very, very interesting. Group B, I think it's going to be one of the most interesting groups for sure, and we're going to have some interesting games. Shakhtar and Mönchengladbach, perhaps not coming in as favorites, but they've proved their mettle, and they will fight for that position in the knockout stages. Now, Group C, Olympiacos, Marseille. Olympiacos, this was not one of the best games, but Olympiacos did get somewhat a surprise result. Again, they were playing at home, but without the home crowd. So usually that's a big factor for Olympiacos. Going to Greece is always a difficult experience because they have quite the experience in the stadium with their home crowd, always making kind of an inferno for the visiting side. But Olympiacos, even without that, they were able to beat Marseille. And interestingly enough, it was a late goal during stoppage time, and it was an assist by Valbuena, who used to play for Marseille. So he assisted against his former team. And Olympiacos gets the goal, the late goal, and the 3 points, which will be crucial for them in a very tight group with Olympiacos, Marseille, Porto, all fighting. One would expect for that second place after Manchester City, who did win in the first game. But it wasn't easy against Porto. In Manchester, you would expect Manchester City to really dominate. It wasn't the case, really. Porto played a very good game. They scored first, actually, with a beautiful beautiful play by Luis Diaz, who scores a very beautiful goal in the game. And then, but Manchester City, slowly but steadily, they're able to get back into the game. First, Aguero converts a penalty that had been given away by Pepe in one of Pepe. If you don't remember Pepe, he played for Real Madrid for a number of years. He plays for the Portuguese national team, and he's doing the same things, it seems, in Porto. I mean, he commits a penalty, a foul in the box 2 times in the same play to give away a penalty. And it was a penalty, no doubt about it, even though Pepe complained, Sergio Conceição, Porto's manager, complained, but it was a penalty, no doubt, and Aguero, he did not miss, and that was 1-1, and then Gundogan, beautiful free kick, and he puts Manchester City ahead. It's 2-1. And to finish off, Ferran Torres, who was making his Champions League debut with Manchester City, he scores a beautiful goal. It was a beautiful play and a beautiful finish by the Spanish youngster, and he makes it 3-1. But it's kind of deceiving. The 3-1 is kind of deceiving because it was a very tight game. In Porto, they really played a very good game in Manchester, but Manchester City, no surprises there. They get the 3 points, and they're going to need them because that's a tight group. And I think that's an interesting group as well with Olympiacos, Marseille, and Porto. Really, they're going to have to play their best football in order to finish second in that group. Now, in Group D, just to finish off, Midtjylland, Atalanta, and again, Group D is out of these 4 groups, I think, at least coming into this first match day, the most competitive group, the group of death, with 3 really good teams in the group: Liverpool, but also Ajax and Atalanta. Ajax, the revelation team in the Champions League a couple of years ago, and Atalanta, the greatest surprise last year. So, and they're very good teams. Both Atalanta and Ajax are very good teams. They're gonna give Liverpool some trouble, I believe. And Atalanta started very, very strong, scoring 4 goals against Midtjylland. 3 of those goals coming in the first half, giving no chance. Zapata, Papu Gomez, and Muriel scoring goals in the first half, and then Atalanta's new signing Miranchuk scores in the second half to seal the deal. 4-0 Atalanta. Liverpool having some trouble with Ajax. They only win due to an own goal scored by Tagliafico, great left back, by the way, against his own team. Unlucky for Tagliafico. So Liverpool, with that own goal, is able to secure the 3 points, 1-0. It's not a great performance by Liverpool, by all means, just winning 1-0. But it is an away win against, even with the coronavirus, still away win against Ajax. That's still a very, very good result for Liverpool in a group in which they're going to have to play their best football in order to finish first in that group and even second. So very important to get those 3 points away against Ajax. Well, and this is it then for the recap. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe. If you're still here, I believe you, because I talked for quite a bit. So I think if you're still here, you probably like the video. So please subscribe. This is still a small growing channel, but I hope to be able to grow this channel and do a lot of these videos in the future. And today we're going to have the Europa League matches, so that's also exciting. But mostly, and I'll probably make a video about talking about the upcoming matches this weekend, because this is going to be a huge weekend. It's a huge weekend for two reasons. In the football world, we have Manchester United playing Chelsea in the Premier League, and amongst other good games in the Premier League, and mostly the big one, really, El Clasico, Real Madrid, Barcelona, the biggest game in club football, no matter what league you follow, no matter what team you follow. Real Madrid, Barcelona is just something special. All right, so thank you very much. Thank you for watching the video, and take care.